Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome aboard. We are here tonight doing a special episode of Scene and Nerd, kind of an episode branch, if you will. Or, I don't know, this may be like a segment in one of their regular shows, I'm not sure. So, but Dave and I are huge fans of the sci-fi show Dark Matter, and I've been covering the show in reviews since the season premiered. And at least the episode 2 review got a lot of Twitter traffic, got some attention from the official Dark Matter Twitter account. So, like I said, Dave and I are pretty excited about the show and how season 2's been going. So we wanted to get together and chat about it. So how you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing good. This show is so good. I think if I could, I would date number 5.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I hadn't been to. I would be right there with you. I would probably date the android though.
The android. Yeah, I'm not into blondes. I'm sorry.
So Dave, I wanted to start off tonight, and I guess, and I'm Agasicles, Stamas, managing editor and technology editor for Geeks Worldwide, and I'm coming from the way of I rotate my beats every few months. That's supposed to be my shtick anyway. I usually get distracted by every random squirrel in the geek world and frequently get pulled off of whatever I'm reviewing. But I'm specifically working with the entertainment crew for the next few months, and I'll be covering Dark Matter on the site. And once my move stops disrupting my life, I do plan to post some reviews of Marco Polo Season 2 as well.
I've seen a little bit of that. I couldn't get into it. I'm not much of a history fan. That's probably why. Yeah.
I'm a huge history. I was a history major in undergrad, and and with regards to the film, most people know I'm a sucker for a period piece, so it was kind of right up my alley. But Dave, I wanted to ask you, man, just to kind of give the listeners some background, and maybe me as well, in case we're going to be. This is our second tango, so in case we're going to be podcasting a lot in the future, I thought I'd get to know you a little bit better. So talk to me about like what some of your favorite shows are, in particular ones that you feel like kind of feed your enjoyment of Dark Matter.
So I guess along the lines of Dark Matter, the 100 is really, really good. So that's also kind of a sci-fi-ish. What else do I like that I've seen? Oh, Sarah Connor Chronicles. That way back in the day, I really enjoyed that one.
All right.
I don't know if you remember that one.
I never watched it, but I'm one of the few people who found some value in Terminator Genesis. And I did
like it. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, cool. And when I dug into some of the lore, because I'm not like a huge Terminator guy, like I don't know all that lore like backwards and forwards like some people do. And I found it interesting that the Sarah Connor Chronicles is considered canon, and that there are events that happen in that show that are considered part of the lore of Terminator. But I should have been more specific. So I'm also interested in like what are some of your favorite shows like of all time?
Of all time.
Yes, that you feel like feed into your enjoyment of Dark Matter.
So all time, I guess I would have to I'd have to go back to again Sarah Connor Chronicles, and Daredevil is probably another one of my tops. But I think Dark Matter made it into my top 3 right now. And it's a tough choice between the 100 and Dark Matter for me, but I feel like 100, at least the second season, was a little bit too dark for me because there was a lot of blood and torture, and I'm like, that is nuts. I mean, I could see why it's relevant because it's like this is a gory like post-apocalyptic world.
Right.
And Dark Matter isn't meant to be like an apocalyptic world. It's just a far off, Big Brother kind of, world in the future.
Yeah. For me, there's little question that I have to qualify. My top 3 shows is I'm definitely a Whedon acolyte. I think that's another well-known fact. So I'm a huge fan. I can't think of anything Whedon has done that I have not liked, including Cabin in the Woods. But my favorite shows that are probably most akin or kind of feed into dark matter are Buffy, Angel, and Firefly. So, in my reviews, I've said, I feel like there's a little bit of Firefly DNA in dark matter. Just simply the fact that it's, I guess, mostly because of the setup, right? It's a small crew on a ship, and they're kind of they're kind of a crew in the Old West sense. They kind of ride about, getting jobs from different handlers and
they're kind of like space pirates.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Space cowboys or space bandits, however you want to say it.
Yeah, exactly. I should, and I should say, in many of the episodes are probably another reason I like it is I like at least Ocean's 11. I'm definitely a sucker for a good heist film or movie. I liked Ant-Man because Ant-Man, to me, at its heart, is a heist film. And with superhero stuff thrown in it. So I like that aspect of it. It also has a little bit of Firefly. There's definitely Stargate DNA because the creators are from that Stargate crew. I may have said StarCraft before. If I did, I apologize. But they're alums from the Stargate universe shows that were also on SyFy. And then the interesting quirk to me is I feel like with all the conspiracy stuff that it feels a little like The Blacklist. And I don't know if you've watched that show.
I have, yeah, because my parents are like super into it.
Right. So there's a little bit of that. So that's my first question for you. This show. The SyFy Network is such an eclectic mix when you look at its history. It has had shows that have been on for one season that are huge cult favorites, have huge cult followings. They have shows like how Stargate survived for as long as it did. I've never figured that out. And then it branched and had all these offshoot shows. What is your feelings on the longevity of dark matter and specifically?
Oh, please keep it going for now.
Right. Well, and my specific question is, dark matter has the problem in that it's a conspiracy show, and conspiracy shows have a problem of people want to see the riddles solved, right? But as soon as you solve the riddle, then nobody wants to watch the show. So
okay, I actually have a theory of, I don't know if you want to get into it now, but I have a theory of I think what they're going to be doing next. I think that I think I'm starting to feel is that there's going to be a shifting crew. Okay, so I think that we'll kind of start moving away from the original 6, and then maybe they'll focus on some, maybe new members taking over the Raza, and it'll be constantly like this thing of like who's controlling the Raza now.
Okay.
Because we've already seen like, one is dead, like he's gone, and I don't think they're gonna do some like weird Arrow shit where they bring him back. Like,
oh, really? See, I'm definitely of the mind that I don't think he's dead. I don't think they've killed him off.
Yeah, I think he's gone, and I think it's good because honestly, he seemed more of a weak character to the crew, and this is a serious show. And honestly, you got to be tough, if you want to make it to be part of the Raza. And I also saw on the official website that there's all these tributes going on. So, I mean, that could be they might just be pulling our leg, but that's just my guess.
One in memoriam.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not there. It's definitely an interesting theory, and I definitely, I won't go, I could never say that anybody's theory is wrong. It would seem weird to me because they didn't resolve his conflict. They didn't resolve the mystery. But again, that's of course a thing that a conspiracy show can do is they can leave a dangling participle out there. But I definitely want to know. I definitely want to know what the interconnection is between him and 3. Did 3 do it? And we strongly suspect now that he didn't. But Was he set up? Did he kill somebody else? That he was made, did he kill her while he was made to believe that she was someone else, or what? But yeah, no, and when we talk about deaths and killing off the crew, so in your theory, basically, the Raza, and maybe the android really become the stars of the show that are consistent from season to season.
Right. Yeah, that's what I got a feel of.
Yeah.
So far.
That's just what I see. My theory that I've been thinking of today is that what they're going to do about the conspiracy. I think each season they're going to solve the history of one member of the original crew.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know if we're going to. I think it might happen like very slowly. Right. I think as we see, like, they might leave the Raza, and then somebody else might be part of it. Yeah.
Because I mean, by virtue of her short life, because I think in reality 2 is only like maybe a year old, right? We kind of saw her whole background.
I actually think 2 might be the only one of the Raza that continues on.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Because she's such a strong character, and this day and age, people love strong female characters.
And like I said, I'm a big Buffy fan, but like Melissa O'Neill, to me, Melissa O'Neill is like the best female action hero that I've seen on anything. And it's kind of funny because if you go back and look at her history, like she was on like Canadian Idol or like Canadian, like You've Got Talent or something like that. So she was like a singer, and not nearly as like athletic as she is now in this role. And she did some Broadway stuff too, or some stage work. So yeah, like she was definitely probably my favorite character from season 1, undoubtedly. In season 2, I'm drifting off from her a bit because I kind of feel like she's the obvious choice. If you ask somebody the question, who's your favorite character from the show? I'm becoming really interested in 6, and I think Roger Cross has done in those first 2 episodes of this season. I think he's done an amazing acting job that's very subtle and almost goes unnoticed. But as I wrote the review for episode 2, I realized he's like the most conflicted character on that show.
He is. Yeah, I really like it. And they're good where the time that we see on him, it's shorter now, but every time we see him, it's so important.
Yeah, that's a good observation, that like when he's on screen, you need to sit up and pay attention.
Yeah.
Right, because something's going to happen. So what were your feelings? And so you have watched the entirety of episodes 1 and 2 of season 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were your feelings about his ending in episode 2?
I think he's gonna live. I don't think that we're gonna see him, pass away right away. I don't honestly know if he's gonna stay a part of the Raza though. I think he's gonna recover, and he might start to become sort of advocate. But I think that he's probably done with the Galactic Authority. Because he sees how they're just as corrupt as the corporations. He's learned.
Right. Did you like that ending, or would you prefer?
No, I liked it. Yeah, I think it was noble for his character.
Yeah. I didn't dislike it. I just don't know. I could see other options being taken that may have been preferable. Like I think that would have been a fitting end for his character. If you want to take the plot and skew the show away from the notion, as you're thinking that those numbered characters are always going to be on the show, that characters aren't going to die. I felt like you could have done that with 6. Like I felt like it would have been a fitting end for him to just have died at that point.
Yeah, I could see it, but I think honestly, I feel like he's so important to Five's development, though, and I don't think that we're fully done with seeing Five. She's like the only character I feel like there's, and you could tell it that it's coming. There's this lady that's talking about we found her, you know, and so you're all like, what? We just thought this girl was some sort of orphan. What is her secret importance, you know, like. And how, if she's an orphan, how does she know all this stuff? You know, like it just is. It's like, and the other thing too is like, you know, you see her, you're kind of growing up with her in the show, you know, in a sense. You see her, you know, become tougher. You know, she's claiming her title to be a part of the Raza.
Right, absolutely. Yes, and you know, well, man, I should have said it at the beginning of the show, but this is obviously a spoiler show. I will put that in the post when it actually goes up. But definitely, you know, the showcase character for episode 2. I love the scenes of her with the gorilla gun, and I love how
I loved it. Yes.
And I loved how she obtained it. I loved how she goes into the weapons locker and grabs like this kind of small, normal-sized pistol, and then is about to walk out the door. You know, is walking past the gun, right, and then stops and then looks over at it and sees it and grabs it. That was so awesome. But you know, more importantly, the title of this episode was "Kill Them All," and when I saw the title, I was like, okay, so the Raza crew is going to be reassembled. They're all going to be together, and you know, somebody from the Galactic Authority or Franca Potente who guest starred on this episode and episode 1. You may know her from the Bourne Supremacy, and I think the Bourne. She was in and then she was in a second Bourne, and also Run Lola Run. But I thought she was going to be the one who said, you know, kill them all. But it's actually 5, and she's telling that to the android. And then the android proceeds to do exactly that. And you know, you have to enjoy seeing 2 just take on whole crews of people by herself. But when the android does it, it's very exciting also.
Yes.
So yeah, that was awesome. So you know, the jury's out on 6, and you know, I see 3 possibilities. Either they turn around, either they immediately go to someplace where they can get medical supplies and bring him back in episode 3.
Right.
It's possible that he could linger in the stasis case through mid-season, or I've theorized maybe he's in there the entirety of the season, and people are periodically around his stasis case. Like there's a scene like every episode with people talking around him in stasis and hoping they can bring him back soon. But he doesn't actually come back. One of my fears is that in some major crisis, you know, either in the second or third to last episode or the season finale, that there's some crisis and the android finally brings him out and patches him up, and then he's like the hero of like the end of the season.
But he dies or something like that.
Right. The other possibility is that he doesn't come back in season 2, and we don't see him until season 3.
Yeah.
Which would be an excellent way to maintain suspense in the show. So, and I don't necessarily have a preference for any one of those 3. Do you have a desire to see him come back sooner or later?
I think either way would like really be good for plot development.
Cool. So what about you? What's your favorite character of the show so far in season 2?
I mean, it's interesting, you know. I definitely think that we're gonna see a lot more of 2 again. And I honestly, this season though, I think this season my favorite character might be the Ishimura guy. I think 4.
Yeah, Ishida.
Yeah, Ishida. So I think we're gonna see a lot more of. I think he might actually be my favorite this season. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Last season, I was all about 5, though.
Yeah, yeah. And what are your theories on 5? My theory on 5 is, and I will admit it's a little. I hope it's what you said. I hope it's some mystery that we don't see coming. I hope it's something that there's no way we could have predicted it is. My fear, to a certain extent, is that it's just about that card that she lifted off that guy from the season 1 reveal, and that it's just resolving that, which is a good thing to resolve and get out of the way. But I just don't think it's going to be anything any more complex than she has some card that gives access to another weapon of mass destruction or something, and people are after it.
Yeah, I think it's probably, it could be that. I think it also could be maybe maybe she's like, relative to somebody that we just don't know, that she doesn't even know about either. So I think it could be 3, like something that we just don't know, like what's coming.
Right. Most interesting character in terms of potential for development for me is the android. I think before the show is all said, I think she is going to become a fully realized personality, capable of fully exhibiting emotion. I don't think it's going to be something, I don't want to say silly, because at the time it was fine. In 2016, we probably look at it as a little. I don't think it's going to be something silly like the Lieutenant Commander Data's emotion chip from the Next Generation series. I think she actually has the capability to experience emotion for some reason, whether or not it's an actual programming glitch. I'm also expecting that one of my predictions is that through some emergency or some need, that she will somehow obtain some of 2's super nanites. And that will be a thing that sparks an evolution in her. So what do you think?
I think that's a really good theory, and I think you could be onto something there with that. I think another thing that might be interesting to see if she develops, she learns love, and if she falls in love with somebody, like that would be very interesting to see too.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be like the surprise twist. So the crew now is at 10, technically, until we fully resolve exactly what has happened with 1.
Right.
Actually, I apologize. They're at 11. That's another thing I want to see. I want to see the android, and it could happen in this episode. I want to see the android officially designated as 7.
Yes.
like she's part of the crew. I feel like designating her with a number formalizes that and gives it a little more emotional weight to it. Of course, you have the problem of if she's 7, then people will refer to 7 of 9 from Star Trek Voyager. But I also think that's okay, because in season 1 they refer to Agasicles, which is a Dune reference from the Frank Herbert science fiction series of novels, which was turned into a movie starring I think that guy's name is Kyle MacLachlan, the Northern Lights guy, and who was I forget what else he was on. He may have been on Sex and the City, but they turned those books into a movie and then a SyFy miniseries. And Arrakis is what the Fremen call the planet Dune, and the way it was spelled in the subtitles, I may not be pronouncing it correctly, but the second word was the name of the Emperor's special guard. So they were a military group of kids who were basically captured or kidnapped at youth, or orphans taken off the street and sent to a hell planet, basically, to be trained for war. So I don't think it would be that problematic. There's been a good amount of space between this show and Star Trek Voyager, which was on in the late 90s, so I think it would be safe. But anyway, the crew's up to 11 now, so they've added the Doctor, the Doctor who was a convict from Hyperion 3. I believe it's Hyperion 3 was the name of the prison planet. That's good. that's very good in their line of work to actually have
Yeah.
a medical doctor on board. Hyperion 3. They've added, man, I can't remember his name. Was it Axis?
I don't remember. You mean the prison leader, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. So they added him. He's a big guy, brings some more muscle, so that's good.
Yeah.
And they've added Nyx, who is the African American woman who kind of was a leader in the prison as well, of a different faction.
I'm a little bit concerned about her, though.
Her and 2 coming into conflict?
Yeah, I'm just honestly, I mean, her. Honestly, it just makes me worry that she might stab the team in the back. I'm not saying this could be, but I'm like wondering, like, are they going to have somebody that's a spy in the show? You know,
that would.
You go on.
That would make sense. I think that one of the 4 of them is a plant.
But we'll wait to see, you know. And if anybody, I think her, you know, because she purposely, like, you know, made it look accidentally. I mean, or it was accidentally that she got mixed up with the team right off the bat.
Right. Very interesting also that she is able to hold her own against 2, who essentially is a super soldier.
Yeah.
Be very interesting. There were mentions of the prototype, or there were mentions of a second unit. That
could be interesting too.
Yep. Yeah. In the episode that did the full 2 reveal, starring Will Wheaton in season 1. I can't remember who the 4th person is who escaped with them.
I'm trying to think too.
I thought sure they picked up 4. I can't remember, and I could be wrong. Maybe it was just those 3. But yep. And and of course, episode 2 also had some at least one old Stargate guest star, Tori Higginson, in a recurring role. As an executive and a starship captain with the Mikkei Corporation. I love her on the show. Radically different character than Dr. Weir was on Stargate Atlantis. And I definitely expect to see more of Stargate alums coming through. The other doctor, whose name I cannot remember right now, but the very abrasive guy from Stargate Atlantis is plays the recurring role of their primary handler. I guess I would say the guy who sets up a lot of their jobs.
Yeah.
So how about specifics of episode 1 and episode 2? What did you like about those 2 episodes? Anything that you didn't like?
I'm trying to think back, like anything that was noteworthy that stood out. I mean, I feel like a lot of episode 1 was, you know, kind of setting up the season, introducing some new characters. And then episode 2 was, you know, there was so much to it. I'm just trying to think. You know, I think what episode... It kind of, one thing that bugged me though about episode 1 is when he was killed, like he just kind of freaking opens the door and like boom. Like honestly, like, you know, it's like why would you, you know, let your guard down like that? You know, it just kind of, it makes, as a character, like it just kind of frustrates me. You would think you would learn, you know, some of these things after a while.
Right.
At least I wish there's a bit of a struggle to it, you know, at least like, you're like, oh, like, you're outside my door. Well, hell, I'm not going to let you in. And then he tries to bust down the door, you know.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go on.
No, I was just saying, I agree. It might have been a little nicer if across episode 1 and 2, we'd seen more of a struggle and difficulty in Derek Moss in one transitioning back to Derek Moss, like still wearing his Raza outfit, like, you know, not immediately delving into like all the creature comforts, like with the nice clothes and the nice food. Yeah, I agree with you there.
And somehow I feel like there might be some sort of like, you know, the whole, I think somehow that's going to all be tied to some large conspiracy in the end, you know. You know, like the corporation's under control. Like I feel like not his, I forget the real guy that he copied. I feel like we're gonna see him, you know, more now in a sense, and maybe he'll join the Raza. Like maybe there's some twist to him. So
yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a reckoning. I think even if one is dead, like the crew of the Raza is not going to let that stand. I think I want to say, because didn't six talk to one? It doesn't he? Because one told him that he talked to one member of the crew. I think it was six. So I think six knows that one feels like his mother's murder, that three was being framed for it, and that there was definitely something.
Right, because he found out the guard
disappeared, right?
Yeah, and like there was only one witness, and also you could tell the CFO or whoever that corporate guy was, he was just kind of brushing it off, you know.
Right.
And then like, you know, you feel like the attorney was on it, you know, like there's a big hush hush. So yeah, but it's kind of interesting because it's like, you know, you think there's going to be like a whole bunch of characters like coming together now because of this incident, you know, because you know the Sheetas are going to know that 4 is out. The crew's going to figure out 1's dead. And then I feel like there's going to be like all these evil corporations, like, you know, they've got some bigger plan going on. And then somehow like maybe like they'll turn into these like, you know, heroes of the show where they kind of end up in saving the galaxy. Although right now it looks like they're the mega villains because, you know, the corporations are shifting the blame of what happened to that planet on them.
Right. And the crew does know. I don't know if you read. So there was they caught a news video at the end of episode 2 that informed them that 1 had been killed.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because I mean, so it's a very asymmetric show across season 1 and into season 2. With you have 6 characters. Every episode, there's a main storyline revealing part of the past history of one of the characters. And then there are typically 1, sometimes 2 subplots per episode revealing smaller factors about the past history of the other characters, without them being the focus. And they kind of move that around, which is good in a way that Firefly didn't do. Again, I was a huge fan of Firefly, but at the end of the day, that show was really pretty much only about Malcolm Reynolds and River Tam. They didn't do what's the other show that's recently been? They didn't do what The Walking Dead does, where you know, you love Rick Grimes, but I mean, season 4. I think it's season 4, whichever season is the march to Terminus, the whole who will arrive, who will survive thing.
Yeah.
And you have 3-4 episodes in a row where you don't see Rick Grimes. And that was such an excellent thing to showcase and highlight that the rest of that cast was just probably arguably the best cast across that many seasons on a single run of a television show. But there's a certain aspect of what goes on Dark Matter with that setup that starts to feel a bit formulaic and almost in an antithetical way to the way like the Flash is like the meta of the week format that they do a lot. But I almost feel like Dark Matter would be served by joining the crowd for a little while. The problem with the show is I just don't know how enjoyable the show is going to be long term. With every other week, it's something different. I almost feel like, okay, it's a hard topic for me to get a handle on, but I feel like with almost certainty that there's going to be a whole season or a half a season that's dedicated to the plot line of Ishida regaining the throne.
Right.
I feel like that whole thing that will take like 10 episodes or 5, and they'll do that and they'll focus on it, and that will be like a cohesive thread in the show. So as we get into season 2, I almost feel like I want there to be a point where they pick a big bad, and that's what the story is, right? But like the whole thing of like sometimes it's the Tralgott Corporation, sometimes it's the Ferris Corporation, then sometimes it's just another band of criminals or somebody from their past, and then the next time it's the Galactic Authority. I feel like for some viewers or for trying to bring people to the show, that almost gets too confusing and unwieldy. Or at least I just have a concern that it's got a shelf life, right? That approach isn't gonna stand across 3, 4, 5 seasons. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if they want to go on the longer route, I think tackling these major villains or groups would be a good way. And then we don't even have to see necessarily the same crew tackling it, or just the Raza, maybe maybe they're gonna side. Maybe this will turn into like some sort of like war thing where all the corporations and Galactic Authority, and then we just kind of see the chaos, and then see what happens with the Raza,
Okay.
Because the one thing that there are weapons out there that can destroy whole planets, so.
Right, and you hit on it in one word. The thing that I was struggling to like come to grips with when you said villain, and that's the only thing I feel like is missing from the show. Like I don't hate anyone.
Right.
There's not like that one person that you're like, that guy. Like I want them to get him. I want them to kill that guy. And I mean even and I guess maybe that's this problem that kind of tingles in the back of my head with the one killing. Again, if he's dead, is that it hit me emotionally. Like my jaw was on the floor. Like my jaw was on the floor through the credits. Right. I was like, I can't believe they just did that. Like, no, that can't be final. I was just completely blown up. And at the end of the day, because I was juggling with scores, because I gave episode 1 a 9.0, and when I was wrapping up the review of episode 2, I was like, I don't feel this episode was any worse than episode 1. Is it really another 9.0 episode? And what I came down to as a tiebreaker is you had the complete. They completely ripped the rug out from under you in episode 1 with shooting 1 at the end, and episode 2 doesn't end with like that big emotional like gasping cliffhanger.
Right. But I don't think the second episode really necessarily needs the big banger, because you've already got people hooked from episode 1, honestly.
Right.
But yeah, like there's no main villain. It's
right.
all of these groups, are equally, bad. And who's to say you can't turn one group into a good group,
Right. Yeah. I'd almost like to see a setup kind of like. What's that kind of like the Thunderbolts, and I don't know if you remember or if you read any of this run, but the the last run of the Thunderbolts, which was Thunderbolt Ross and Red Hulk, as Red Hulk, Punisher, Deadpool, Elektra, and Venom. The shtick is each issue it was okay. All of us are going to band together and do a mission on the behalf of one of you, right? Pick an enemy or a past slight that you want to avenge or whatever, and we do that mission, and then you guys all do a mission for me. And it went back and forth like that. I kind of almost wonder if something like that would work, where it would be like, they stand around on the bridge and they're like, okay, whose conflict are we going to resolve now? Okay, we're all gonna get on our horses and resolve this Ishida thing. And do that, and then okay, we're gonna hunt. I'd also like to see a little more of an offensive, right? Like 2 escaped Wesley Crusher, right? But he's out there, so I almost want to see sometimes maybe them go, this dude's out there. We're gonna take the fight to him. We're not gonna sit around and wait for him to come after us. So, but other than those things, it's a great show.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm tearing it down, but it's really because the show is so great that, and I feel like they kept the formula pretty controlled with the setup and to get on a solid foundation. I feel like they're on a solid foundation. So now I kind of want to see them branch out a little bit.
So compared to other sci-fi shows out there, what do you think is like one of the main things that really draws people to this show over other shows? And for me, I think I kind of know. It's just, I think a lot of it is to do with the conspiracy, and I think a lot of it also has to do with kind of, we haven't really seen, I mean, not that I know of in my years of TV, we really haven't seen like this whole space pirate thing, really played out well. And I think that was just because you always see like there's Stargate, there's Star Trek, or there's like, the 100. And that pretty much what it does is, I think with those is you're kind of following, there's like a crew with a mission, we're protecting civilization. And this is just one of those shows where, no, it's not about, protecting society right now. This is a bunch of space pirates, and through watching their lives, we see the corruption of what's going on, in the sci-fi world. The corporations are controlling it, and, there's really there's no good group that we've seen. The Ishidas are bad, Ferris and, the Galactic Authority.
Yeah, no, I think that's an awesome description of what makes the show great. And I'm right there with you. The thing that drew me in initially was the notion of the conspiracy, right? The notion that you just don't know anything about this crew, and you're only revealed what they want you to know. As the show has progressed, though, what's grabbing me now is this notion that crew is a family, and they started hitting on that in like the last few episodes of season 1. The Flash is not my favorite of the CW shows. It's actually tumbling quite a bit as it progresses. It was at a huge peak in season 1, and I've slowly backed away from it. But what that show does better than anything is knit together the emotional impact of the family aspect.
Well, here's the thing with the Flash that I think differs from kind of dark matter or more of a serious tone. Really, what bad things have gone on to the Flash that would draw them closer? Like, come on now, it's supposed to be a pick-me-up. They're all, Central City, we're all happy and giddy,
Yeah.
We don't have any crisis that brings us, really that close. Not like Arrow where you see all these bad things, or dark matter, like really bad things, that brings, that really gets us to know people. And that, I think that's what you're hitting on. And, Supergirl has a little bit more of that, like, crisis than Flash.
Yeah. Supergirl hits on some awesome family drum beats as well, though. And actually, I think we'll see how season 3 of the Flash goes. But I would say by the end of these past seasons, Supergirl, like there's just, and again, I'm a guy, so maybe the sister relationship between Kara and Alex Danvers is, maybe some women may feel it's a little contrived. Like I mentioned before, I have 2 daughters. And if my girls grow up and are as close as those 2 sisters go, I will be able to pass away as a happy father. To me, there's no better rendering of a familial relationship than on Supergirl, right? So between Alex, Kara, and now John Jones, and how protective of them he's become. Like, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Dean Cain. Like, I was a huge fan. Like, Lois and Clark just hit me at a time in my life when I was probably close to the ages they were supposed to be on that show, and it felt very relevant to me. And I love Dean Cain. He's actually given me a shout out on Twitter, so I appreciate that, Mr. Cain. And as much as I love him, like the fatherly relationship of Gian Jones with Alex and Kara almost makes me not want to see. I can't remember his first name on the show. Almost makes me want to see his character not come back, like because what I don't want. I don't want the awkward two-father thing that wound up unfolding on The Flash. Right, where you had John Wesley Shipp, out of jail. So I need to mark this down as Flash spoilers as well.
I kind of agree with you. I know we're kind of dipping into another territory right now, but right. I don't want to see Martian Manhunter become a constant in the show, because he needs to eventually join the Justice League or do his own stuff. If they want to make a Martian Manhunter spinoff now, that would be okay, even if it was short.
Yeah, that dude could definitely carry a show. They need to do some better CG though. That's the only thing that, I swallow that every time he's I know it's not great CG, and I just try to oh no, it's fine.
Well, I think CBS though was normally known for not having great,
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting. When they bring that show over to the CW. And I don't necessarily know exactly how budgets are allocated, but we've definitely seen an arc on The Flash, right, where CG is not great at the beginning of the season because they're saving that budget for some really good CG effects later in the season. So it would be interesting if Berlanti had a CW special effects budget, and if that were pooled across his shows, and then so either maybe hopefully the CG effects on Supergirl will get better, or the negative side of that is all the shows will get collectively worse because of the addition of an additional budgetary version. We'll have to see how that goes. But getting back to Dark Matter, that notion of how they bond and how. I guess what I love about the show is how we see those characters, as much as they sometimes hate each other. As much as 4 hates everyone. That when the bullets start flying, everybody's got each other's back, and I love that aspect of the show. So what else do you want to talk about? I think we've done an effective job of telling people why they should watch the show if they listen. Some people don't care about spoilers, so maybe we had some new viewers or people who are thinking about watching the show, maybe listening to this on their morning commute. But I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about Dark Matter?
Let's see. I'm thinking of all. So the one thing I felt I feel like 3 didn't get a lot of attention in this. And so far, he's kind of. So far, all we know is he was the one that was chosen to be given the map, and he's just kind of all right, guys, I'm going along with your plan, which is interesting to say the least. it feels like, why is he just this guy on the sideline right now? I think that they need to, I just kind of feel like now that there's no tension with him, like, what are they going to do with this character?
Yeah. His episode in season 1, where they had we'll just go ahead and call her his wife, show up, was one of the more amazing episodes of season 1. Really loved what they did with him on that, and I have to give them the nod for at first them killing her. That same episode felt a little contrived, but when I went back and thought about it, I was like, yeah, I mean, again, that's one of the problems they have to watch in a conspiracy theory show is you already have this running conspiracy, which is like 6 degrees, right, on that show with all the characters. So at a certain point, you have to pick things to truncate. Like, you can't let things linger for many episodes. And one of the things that can linger is this notion of you see all these characters and all these adventures, like on the ship, but then somebody is down in the cargo hold in stasis, right? So it's an interesting and probably an efficient creative choice that they chose not to do that, which may bode for what they're going to do with 6, right? That may be a thing that they say we're not going to put people in a stasis thing in the cargo bay and let them be down there for episodes on end.
Yeah. Here's another thought I have. I don't know what you think about this, but they could potentially, like, there could be some disaster that happens, like, I don't know, on the Raza or somewhere else, and it happens again where the teams, their mind, their memories get all wiped again. So what do you think about that happening?
That could happen. I have to say I wouldn't hate it. That would definitely be in the realm of a thing that I might hate, but
maybe not right away, but down the road.
Yeah, I could see them hitting a big. Well, I have to be careful about it. Let me make sure I'm not being hypocritical, because I'm definitely in the dislike camp of the end of Flash season 2, where he has hit a big reset button, and what we're going to get at the beginning of season 3 is seeing how all the history of seasons 1 and 2 have been changed. So I think I'm okay with it because it's not time travel, right? I think I'm okay with it because it happens. Because it could happen in real time, and they would have to rebuild on, and I would be fine with them riffing on it then too, right? Like, I would be fine. Shouldn't be right away, but maybe season 4, I would be fine too if the crew, for whatever reason, then doesn't gel like they did after the first memory wipe, right? If people really hate each other, if one of them kills another, that would be interesting. I could go with that. I think maybe the last thing I'll say is, so these new characters that are on, what I also want to be wary of is, and I'm a little torn. They probably shouldn't go the Walking Dead route either, right?
I'm sorry, I'm just over the Walking Dead right now. I'm more into Fear of the Walking Dead.
Okay, yeah, I need to watch. I was a proponent of Fear of the Walking Dead through season 1. While there were many detractors from the show, I admit it was a very cold start, and you had to stick with it.
Because there were some slow episodes for sure.
Which and you normally I say people shouldn't feel obligated to stick with anything, right? I feel like that's not a burden anybody should have to bear. But I feel like that there was a payoff in that, and I do need to get caught up in season 2. But I've completely so I'm a little wary that what happens on The Walking Dead always inevitably is that anyone who gets introduced, even if they're on the show for several episodes, who's not part of the original Rick Grimes consortium, is gonna get killed, right? Right? Just when you think characters have joined up that you think are going to span seasons, like they're gone. Like, the only one who's stuck around has been Sasha, right? So So I'm a little wary that they've brought these additional 3 or 4 crew members on, and they're just going to become the series as red shirts, right?
Oh, I know, that would really bug me too, because I don't like. I actually had a conversation with this with my one friend, and the doctor girl, like the way that they killed her off, that kind of like annoyed us, because you just got to love this girl, and then bam, arrow through the head.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and the other thing that The Walking Dead did that really pissed me and my friends off is that they killed a character and they didn't tell you, so you don't even have time to grieve for them when the season starts up. Actually, for us, like, I feel like when the season starts up, I'm not going to even care anymore, whoever died.
Right.
I just want to see what else is next.
Right. Yeah. Killing the character in the finale may just mean that there's too much of a span of time for you to feel emotionally connected. Unlike the whole way they handled Glenn, right? Since they did that kind of early in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think that does it for us. We've gone right at about an hour, and I thought we were going to be shorter, but it was a good conversation because you're the only person I've been able to talk dark matter with. So.
And I hope our viewers liked it too.
Yeah. We'll definitely. This is definitely in consideration in terms of managing programming for the radio network for the site. That this may be something maybe we come back and do like every 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Hopefully I can get moved between episodes 3 and 4 and have the Geek Command Center back up and operational. It's quite a humbling and embarrassing experience where there were so many podcasts recorded in this basement, fortress, and with all the electronics around, and now it's my, in progress of packing laundry that's filling up my background. So, well, thanks a lot, Dave, for joining in, man. I really appreciate that you this was your idea, so I really appreciate that you queued it up.
All right.
And we're gonna get out of here. Dave, where can people find you on Twitter?
Comic Book Guy 90 on Twitter.
All right, and you're also managing the GWW.
Yes,
account.
I am the social media manager for that Twitter account. Yes.
Very cool. You can find me at Agasicles Stamas on Twitter. That's 1 word, 2 S's in the middle. So thanks everybody for joining in, especially you Dark Matter fans. We will try and be back after episode 4. So in the meantime, please put comments on the reviews in the section and look out for us tweeting the reviews out when they go live. Thanks very much for joining in, and we are out of here.